much too much. I love you much too much. I've known it from the start, right from the start. But yet my love is such, I can't control my heart.
Oh my God. Welcome back, guys, to Strikeout Bros. I'm Pablo, that's Lasha. What's going on, baby?
Yeah, um,
What's going on?
uh,
What's going
it's
on?
good, man. What's going on is just a lot of surprises.
Yeah,
Both
gonna
are
jump right.
both the teams are kind of struggling a little bit. They're not as dominant
What
as we thought they would be,
well, he's talking
or
about the
good.
Mets and the Baltimore Orioles, if you guys don't
Yeah,
know. He said both teams. He's talking about those teams. He's not talking about his other team, you know what I'm saying, who's about
that's
to
right.
sweep the
The
Philadelphia
Phillies.
Phillies in a divisional game, which is pretty crazy. A divisional series, they sweep the Phillies in a second. It'll happen. It's about to wind down now.
We get
The-
Phillies again this week. They play them next weekend back
that's
In
crazy.
Atlanta.
So the Atlanta Braves at this moment are 14-7, 8-2 in the last 10, won four in a row. Well, five if they win this one. And it's pretty exciting for them. And they'll have the Mets in a chokehold at 8 games back. And at a 7-15 record, being swept on that road trip, completely swept, meaning that
Oh,
they
and
got swept
6.
by the Dodgers and swept by the Chicago Cubs. And you know what? They deserve it. Once again, I can't explain it. We're gonna talk numbers in a second. We're gonna show you what these guys are saying. And everybody's upset. Everybody that I'm listening to on the airwaves is upset. They're cursing. Like I said, it's abnormal for them. You never hear these guys curse, but they're so angry. I mean, it's really bad for the guys that have to talk about it on a daily basis because they get paid to do it. At least I have to cry once a week. These guys have to cry every single day because right after the game, boom, it's on. They have to try to break down what happened. They don't even know what's happening anymore. They don't even know what the plan is. It's just crazy to me. And when they say, "Oh, it's never too late," or "It's too early," or whatever the hell it is that they're saying out there, it's too late. All right, I don't think that Atlanta keeps showing who they are. It's funny because I kept saying Atlanta wasn't gonna go anywhere, and but look at them. They're really taking off. Our record is horrible. 7-15. That's crazy. Run differential is 25. Yeah, 25. All right. We scored 72. The opposing team scored 97. That's crazy. You know, Atlanta plus 55. Runs scored 118 runs. Runs allowed 63. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you win ball games. That's how you stay up in the standings.
Yeah, and with Atlanta, they're getting contributions from not big name guys. They're
Michael
getting contributions
Harris.
from Dominic Smith,
Just,
Dom Smith, Harris, Acuna a little bit, but guys that besides Mets fan, most people don't know who Dom Smith was because he's been since he left the Mets. He's been like so many different places.
yeah. But it's okay. Look
And
at this guy, man. Michael Harris, 3 for 3, 2 runs scored. Had a home run today. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on with that guy? That guy's on fire. We don't have anything like that on our side.
yeah, he's been great, Michael Harris. Because he's always tend to have a slow start, and it takes him a while, but he tends to get hotter near the end of the season. But this year he's hot right now. How long that's going to be, who knows? But he is a big contributor to that offense, and if once Acuna gets going, and Riley's been the guy I've been looking at, he's been really slow. Olson's kind of taken off slowly too, and then Drake Baldwin's been doing all right. He's pretty consistent for the most part offensively. But yeah, if they could get Riley going and Olson and Acuna, That's one thing I've noticed about baseball. Not all of your major guys are going to be hot at the same time. It's different spurts,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, yeah,
And if 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 that one guy can carry the team while the other guy is trying to figure it out, then it doesn't matter. You don't even care that Acuna's not doing well. You don't care if Riley's not doing well. As long as Harris keeps producing in clutch moments, and Baldwin, Dominic Smith, and Harris are like the main three guys right now carrying the Braves offense as far as consistency and production goes. And then the biggest surprise for me is their pitching staff. I was very hesitant about them. They don't have Chris Sale's been really great. He left off where he was from last year, and like you wouldn't even realize they had a season off. He's been doing great, so he's been the ace of that rotation. And then Suarez is the back end. Raisel Glaze, he's been all right. He's a good setup man. So as long as he's not the closer, I'm fine with that. He seems to do better in the setup role. He doesn't do well under pressure and big moments. At least last year he didn't, but he hasn't been in that situation. The only way they're gonna put him in that situation is if Suarez is not available to close. But yeah, I'm surprised because I thought Philly would give us a good fight. Philadelphia had won a couple games going into that series, and then I guess it's been a pitching duel plus more so offensive too. I know Taiwan Walker pitched yesterday for Philadelphia, and he just got crushed. So that looks like a good deal of not
so
re-signing him.
that's the only X-Men that's not doing work out there.
Zach
Like you
Will's
said,
all right.
look what you
Yeah,
said just now. You said Dominic Smith is putting in work. You know what I'm saying? X-Men, right? I just saw McNeil put in work against the Mets. He was amazing.
Nimmo.
Nemo's putting in work over there in Texas. All right. The only person that's not really doing anything is Alonso.
Yeah, I was gonna say Alonso. Oh my god, he pissed me off.
You see, he's pissing you off already. But
Bro, he's whatever the opposite of clutch is. I call it dud because
yes,
he's a dud.
He'll hit him. He'll hit him when they don't count.
There's nobody gets
relaxed.
on.
He's relaxed. You know what I'm saying? But when the pressure's on, there's something that happens to him and he can't perform. You know what I'm saying? And he'll get lucky here and there, but he needs to be in a relaxed environment for him to be able to produce. It's funny like that. So basically, he's putting up runs that you don't really need. Like with the score is already padded and
Pad
shit.
statter, yeah.
Exactly. You see?
And then with Alonso, what drives me crazy about him is he exactly reminds me of Chris Davis. Always swinging out crap. He's not patient he's not patient at the plate. And the reason why that is because he knows there's a lot of pressure. Less pressure in Baltimore than there is in New York, but he's still feeling that pressure because they gave him $150+ million, and he's not producing. And he only has like one home run, maybe two, I think. Like 2 home runs in 17 games. That's not all that great.
That's garbage.
He's nowhere. You might not make it to 40 this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with 28 home runs. That's the way it's going. But
I mean, the pressure is new ball club, new division, new pitchers. It's a lot for him to, just the same thing that's happening to Bichette is going to happen to Alonso.
Bichette, I'm not worried about, man. Everyone worries about him. I think it's just about him getting acclimated with New York. Everyone worries about Bichette. I wouldn't worry. My big, going back to the Mets, their biggest concern, my opinion, the biggest glare on the Mets is the fielding errors, more so than anything else. Offense will eventually come through, but the fielding errors, and it's not by like rookies by Carson Ben, just by like all-star position players, Simeon, Lindor, Beatty, he drives me crazy.
See, listen, the whole team is driving me crazy. All right, today, okay. Listen, all right. Before I'm like, all right, the pitching is holding up, right? This is what I was saying before when we first started the season, right? So I'm like, all right, we're not hitting. The pitching is holding up. If a pitcher goes in and he gives you, 6 innings, 1 run baseball with 3 hits, 4 hits, whatever it is, that's great pitching. You know what I'm saying? But not enough if your team isn't scoring, all right? And that's the problem. So now today, all right, Peterson has been having problems, right? His last 3 starts were garbage, right? So instead of holding him back and shelving him and giving him a break and trying to figure out what's wrong with him and bringing up somebody else what's his name? Scott, right? But
what is it, Christian? What's his name?
Christian
Scott. Yeah, I don't know why they haven't brought him up yet.
All right, they should have just did that, right? Instead of doing that, they put him. They to keep him in there, but they throw out Tobias. It was a split start, a bullpen start. So Tobias Myers started today, and then they handed it off to Peterson. It kind of worked and shit,
Hey,
but
no, that Meyer guy looked good today, man. I was like, wow,
no, no,
I was
no.
shocked.
I know. He's a starter. He's a starter. He's a starter. He came over in the package with the Peralta, trade.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah. So, he's a
why
starter.
start him
I know,
over
but
Senga?
I know, but this is the thing. So that's a different story altogether. I haven't even gotten to that part. So Senga's really falling apart. So why not bring Christian Scott once again? Or Tang, you know what I'm saying? Tang is having a good time down there. So I first thought that Holmes was gonna be really hurt, but he's not. You know what I'm saying? And he's been holding us up, Peralta's been pitching well. McClain has been pitching well. We have the Peterson Senga problem. You know what I'm saying? Peterson you can shelf because we have the talent downstairs. We can actually bring them up and see what they can do. You know what I'm saying? We have Manaya. Manaya's not pitching, if you're gonna do a split start, then why not do a Tobias Myers, what I'm saying, Manaya start. But when Manaya's been fucking up too, you know what I'm saying? So like everybody, it just sucks, all right? And then like the lineup changes over and over and over again. I'm just tired of it. I don't even want to talk about that anymore. It's like, all right, every day new lineup. All right. Obviously last night's didn't work because it just didn't make any sense. Now he's starting to listen to me. It's kind of like he's like I'm challenging, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, oh, you gotta put the kid upstairs. You gotta put him on the, he finally took Lindor off the leadoff spot and he's putting the kid up there. You know what I'm saying? Carson Bench. I think that's a good move. I think the guy has speed. If he gets on base, he can steal. He
There's
can,
less pressure for him.
yeah, exactly. He can produce. You know what I'm saying from that slot. I think it is a good slot for him. I think if you give him opportunity there and you keep him there and he learns what his job is at that slot, he'll be good. Lindor wasn't producing, he wasn't doing anything. You had to move him, and let's see what happens. But I don't think this team has a shot. I think it's way too late now. I think it's gonna get worse. I think it's gonna take them a really long time to figure it out and make a really big statement move like fire Mendoza. I think that's the first move they have to make, you know what I'm saying? And then they're gonna have to figure out what type of managing, and what type of problem the team has and how to fix it. All right? 'Cause it's getting way too late.
Well, I'm gonna be a Mendoza apologist. Because don't get me wrong, there's been some times where he just makes dumb decisions that make no sense. But at the same time, he's working with what he was given. You know what I mean? It's just like if you gave me a car, a clunker, and it's freaking making all these squeaky noises. I'm driving down the highway, but I have nothing else to choose. What am I supposed to do? This is the car, you gave me. You know what I mean? So I have to deal with it. You know what I mean? It
Look,
sucks. I can't just quickly go buy a new car.
all right.
Same thing with him. He can't buy a new lineup. It's too late. You know, not too late, but it's not feasible.
Yeah, hold on
So
1 second. Hold that thought.
the
Let me tell you
Phillies
what.
game, I'm
Yeah,
watching
the
it.
Phillies game
Yes,
is so man on first and second, 2 outs
two
for
outs.
who? For Schwarber, 1 and 2 in the count. All right, so now, unlike a double ties it, a home run wins it. You know
You
what I'm
think a
saying?
double ties it?
Of course,
Well, depending who's on
it
first,
doesn't. It
man.
doesn't. It doesn't matter. Let me
Well, if
see.
I saw, I hate this guy. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna close my eyes. This guy
A
gives me
home run. A home
agita.
run wins it. A walk off homer, right? Or a double
Two.
ties it, and then they'll remove Schwarber for something a little faster and try to win the game. But we'll see what happens now. This is baseball. This is what I'm talking about. Divisional
This is
rival.
why you don't put this guy in.
You know what I'm saying?
Always told you. Oh, he caught it. Oh, I thought he hit it. Wow, Cunha with the save. Oh, you ahead of me?
Yeah, no, you're ahead of me. That's what
Oh,
happened just
sorry.
now. It's all good, brother. So game over. Wow, look at that. Oh my god, that was the double I was talking about. He caught that.
See
That's the
that, but it
double
looked
I'm
like a
talking about.
double, right?
That's
It
what
looked like a double off the bat. I was like, oh
yeah,
boy.
that's the double I was talking about. That would have definitely ricocheted off the wall really hard, and they would have scored, 2 runs,
They would
tied
have
the ball
tied the
game.
games.
Yeah, that's crazy. What an ending. That's a beautiful
Wait, I
ending.
gotta see this replay.
Yeah, Atlanta sweeps the Phillies 5 in a row.
Cause the way it looked like you ever see those plays that outfielders make when they know they're not gonna get the ball, but they just try to make it look like they made an effort and to attempt
Yeah,
to
here you
getting
go.
it.
I'm looking
That's
at the
what it looked
replay
like.
now. I'm looking at the replay now. It looks crazy. Wow, he really stretched out. That was an amazing play, I must say.
Yeah,
He had
he
to stretch out. He had to stretch out for
yeah,
because
because he underplayed the ball. He probably thought it was gonna be short.
wow, he was in the air for 2 seconds there. He actually made an amazing play to save the game. And you know what? Every game counts. I don't care what anybody says. Last year the Mets lost. They didn't make the playoffs by one game. Every game counts. And
Yeah, that's
people
true.
say it doesn't. All these games we're losing right now, they're gonna come to haunt us later. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna try. Now we're like this little bullshit puppy underdog that's gonna try to make it. We have one of the highest payrolls in baseball. What is going on? This makes no sense. So now we're one of these trying to make the last, wild card situation. This is what we're all about this year now. Now we're gonna be fighting for a wild card the whole season because we're so far back already that there's no way we're gonna be able to top that division now. Not the way these guys are playing. All right,
You're what, 7-15 or
seven
7?
fifteen.
Yeah,
No,
7-15.
7-15, 7-15, 11 in a row. You know what? That's 11 in a row.
7-15. Yeah,
So that means think about
yeah.
this. Before we went on that crazy
You
11
went
and
on a 4-game winning streak, and
no,
then
not only that, we were think about it. If you subtract 11 from that 15, we were 7-4, my brother. 7 and
yeah,
4.
7-4, 3 above 500, and you were in like just about in first place or tied with the Braves, something like
And
that.
not playing good baseball, and not playing good baseball. With that record, we could have, But now with these 15 losses, this is crazy, and 11 of them in a row. That's insane, and it's going to continue to happen. I'll keep telling you, like it's not like a joke. Something has to happen. I want them to keep losing, unfortunately, because I want them to figure this out, all right? Because you have to do something. You're gonna lose fan base. Fan base is not gonna show up to a building that knows that the
Well,
team
they'll
is
lose money.
you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. So they're gonna have to figure it out. They have to do something for the fans. Everybody's pissed off. All right. So like if you don't do something for the fans, either fire Mendoza, get a better manager, get somebody with a better head, somebody that's a leader, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that has a presence. You know what I'm saying? You need something like that. Something has to change, all right? The lineup has to change. The lineup has to be more consistent. You have to give these guys a chance at their positions. You know what I'm saying? You keep swapping them out. You keep like you're not making the right positional change decisions.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. So Baltimore last year, they fired their manager in May, and Tony Manzolino took over. He's now the third base coach for Atlanta, and they finished. They had a winning record from the time he started
I
to
know.
the game the season. But the problem was they were so far behind that they finished like 10 games on the 500, and they didn't, or even more, I think. And they dug such a big hole that even though they had a good run with him, a winning record, they're just so that's the problem with the Mets. And it's that saying it's getting late early.
Yeah, man.
Well,
It's too late.
it's and see my rule of thumb with baseball because as an Orioles fan and I've always experienced this. I said once the Orioles get 10 games under 500, it's over because you're just constantly playing catch up, catch up. Even if you go on a 7 winning streak, you're still 3 games under 500.
Yeah, man. Because
You're still behind the division because the Yankees keep winning, or in
exactly
your
you go
case, the
nowhere. You
Braves.
don't move.
What does it matter?
You don't move in
You
the
know,
standings. Yeah, it sucks. This is
you
why I know
know
it's over. It's over now. So now you really have to get young. If you're gonna do this, all right, let it happen now. Let us fall apart completely, and then now you have an opportunity because all right, you have to look forward to certain
who are
things.
you
All right,
gonna sell off though?
you have to sell off everything you have. Boba Fett will thrive wherever. If it doesn't work here, he can thrive somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Eat up a little bit of the contract. Obviously, you ate up half of it. Whatever it
Yeah,
was.
it's a
He's
3-year
like,
deal.
I know,
You know,
but you can get rid of him now. Give him to somebody that's
we'll
it's
need
going
him.
somewhere that
Yeah,
will need him. That's easy. Simeon's gonna be hard to pull off, but you know what? It's okay. You eat that shit.
he's
There's
been
nothing.
a disappointment,
Yeah, you can't. There's
especially
nothing you can do about
defensively.
that. All right, and then obviously, if you really want to go there, you know what I'm saying. Somebody would pick up Soto with the quickness. You know what I'm saying. If we dangled, it's like dangling skins or dangling anybody. Anybody would be willing to pay off that contract completely too. You know what I'm saying? All those suitors that wanted him before, not for the right prospects and for the right players, you can definitely pull off a Soto trade. You can definitely pull off a Lindor trade if you wanted to. And I'm being serious now. I know it sounds crazy and you think I'm crazy right now because I'm upset, but I think that this team needs a full scrub down. You keep the kids and you do a complete scrub down. You know what I'm saying? And then you start just playing Tang. You let him figure it out. You make the season like you turn the season into like a fucking cyclone season. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, let's see what we have. Let's let the kids play. Because at this point, we're not gonna win a championship like this.
Yeah, no, like I said, the thing that I've always said this. I can deal with my team losing if they're putting up runs in baseball wise or any sport. If my team is trying hard, you know, and they're putting in their close games, but they're losing because they just don't have the talent. They're not gonna accept it. You know what I mean? Like the Jets. Last year they don't have no talent. They keep losing games, but you just deal with it. It's not because they don't have enough talent. Or the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, perfect example in basketball. They're not a talented team, but guess what? They're a tough team. They play hard. They put up fights. Yeah, they're gonna go anywhere. No, but they try. Going to a season, or like the White Sox, they know they're a young team. They're not as talented, but guess what? They're gonna put same thing with Colorado. They're gonna put up a fight. They're gonna make it challenging. But the Mets don't even. They're not even doing that. Watching these games, it drives me crazy when you
Like,
see a
I
guy
can't do
just
it.
slowly taking his sweet time and not caring. It just drives me crazy.
No, no, no.
That's
You know
true.
what?
I notice
You know what was the end all for me with Lindor? Like, I've never really liked Lindor. You know what I'm saying? I mean, being Puerto Rican and him being one of the best players in the league and all this shit, and him being on my team. Am I supposed to be proud of that? I mean, listen, I don't like the guy. I don't like the way the guy moves around. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, the other day I was watching the game, the Dodger game, when Otani was pitching, and this guy had struck him out once prior already, I believe, right? Or maybe he struck him out twice already. And whatever, the third time around, he strikes him out so long at bat, like 9 pitches. You know what I'm saying? Something crazy like that. And it was a situation where a hit could have helped us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't have any faith anyway, but a hit could have helped us. And you know what? He struck him out. And you know what the Lindor does? He smiles. I'm like, bro, you're fighting the guys that you want to take off the top. You know what I'm saying? To make it to the World Series, you have to get through these guys. Why the fuck are you smiling right now? You let Otani strike you out. You know what I'm saying? That shit pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? The frustration ain't there for him. It's like whatever. You know what I'm saying?
that, and then that first game against the Dodgers, that nobody was some Polish name Waskowski. I forgot his name. He looked like Nolan Ryan out there. I'm like, this is terrible. Then they don't even put up a fight. Like in today's game, how do you only score one run when it was like the top of the whatever inning was that? Like I think it was the top of the 10th. They're like, man, I'm first and second in the 1 hour, and they couldn't score. I was like, are you kidding me, man?
No,
That's
that's
just that drives me crazy too. When you got man on first and second, or just runners on the bases, and you have one out and you can't get nothing, or there's no outs and you get nothing.
no.
That drives me crazy too.
It, yeah, I mean, yo, leaving men stranded, that's that's what they do best, man.
That's
Like, they've been doing that shit for years, bro. Like, they love to leave men stranded. Yo, a leadoff triple, you think the Mets are gonna score? Fuck off. They're not scoring. It's fucking crazy, bro.
it just it's I was thinking about the other day. It's amazing how far they have fallen because just 2 years ago, okay, it was what September of 24. You came to Atlanta and we stayed in a hotel and we were watching this game, and we were just so impressed how well they played. We're like, wow, the Mets are just a couple pieces away. That's literally, we went from there a couple pieces away to now, oh my gosh, we have to do a full rebuild, maybe.
Full
Like,
rebuild, bro.
hit the red button, like, panic, 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 panic. And how's that happen? There's no way that one or two, what, 3 or 4 moves, and that's, well, because it was, what, 3 or 4, it's more than that probably, but
It's a lot. It was
th-
no, it wasn't even
it's
just the
more than
moves.
three
It
or
was the
four.
out of position players, and now you
Rotating
have
guys every
you know
five minutes.
listen, nothing makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Okay, listen, this is
No.
another crazy move, all right? So now Mauricio gets the walk off, right? The day before, right? So he came up because Soto was hurt, right? And now and when they did that, the next day they sent him back down, right? To bring up, I believe, Young, right? And I'm like, does that make any sense to me? I mean, like, you had the kid upstairs, he got a good hit. You know what I'm saying? He had a little bit of spark in him. You know what I'm saying? You should have kept him up here. Now he goes right back downstairs. Like, you gotta be kidding me. This is insane.
Wait, they send him back down?
Yeah, they sent him back
I would have
down.
left
And
him
then,
on the bench, man. You
no,
could
no,
use
but
him as
no, no,
a
no. I'm
bench
sorry.
player.
No, no, they didn't do that. They didn't. They. You know what they did? What they did? They brought Melendez up. They brought Melendez
I
up.
like
And then, bro,
Melendez.
I know, but listen,
He
you
was
already
good
have
today.
Mauricio up. Why did you send down Mauricio to bring up Melendez when Mauricio was already up here? You should have just kept Mauricio up here. You know what I'm saying? But now
Mm,
they bring Melendez, and then Melendez had a good, a couple of good games against the Dodgers. You know what I'm saying? But it
yeah.
seems like you know what happens, right? They'll come from downstairs and they'll be hot, and that's where they're chosen to come up, and then they'll have that energy and they'll hit, right? And then here comes Mendoza, and he'll put them on the bench, and then they don't even get the proper playing time or anything like that. And they start to cool down, and then they don't hit, and then Soto's gonna come up in a few days. I think he's supposed to come up, I think, believe tomorrow, and not tomorrow. Tomorrow we rest tomorrow, and then he comes up on Tuesday.
Yeah, Yellow traveling home.
Yeah, so he comes up on Tuesday, and that means that Melendez has to go back down. You know what I'm saying? But then again, Young is hurt. Young is out for like 6 to 8 weeks or months or whatever. Something happened. Whatever. I don't care for the guy anyway. You know what I'm saying? So like, get him out of here. Like, and then
Yeah, but you can't rely on one guy to carry it because everyone's gonna say because even when Soto was in there, the lineup was struggling too. Yeah, he was doing all right, he producing, but the rest of the lineup was still struggling. One guy can't. So that's the thing. That's the one thing about baseball. It's not like football or basketball where LeBron can carry a whole bunch of Joe Schmo, a bunch of guys. In baseball, look at Mike Trout. Every time I think about, look at Mike Trout. He's gonna go down as one of the Hall of Famer that
yeah.
played for a team that never made it to the playoffs or the World Series. But he's so loyal to the Angels, which is crazy. Because if I was him, I would leave him like,
I
screw
would
this.
have
I'm
said
going
I
to New
gotta
York.
go. I gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah, I gave
I
him
would have
I gave
forced
him
it. I
ten
would have
plus
forced
years.
it. I would have forced it. You
Like,
know what I'm
and he's
saying?
having a good season this year, believe it or
Yeah,
not,
I
and he's
know.
healthy.
He is.
He
He's
had a
having
great
one of
series
those.
against the Yankees.
You know what's funny? All these old players are having like retrofitted
It's like,
years. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, resurgence.
It's resurgence. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? So now let me break this shit down to you now, right? Okay, so here we go, right? We're gonna break down the last 7 days of these motherfucking Mets one by one. All right, the ones that matter. You know what I'm saying? All right, and this is the funny shit, right? In the last 7 days, Lindor 24 at bats, 2 runs, 8 hits, a double, a home run, which I saw, which is a leadoff home run at the beginning of the game against the Dodgers or whatever, right? 1 RBI, bro. 12 total bases, 4 strikeouts, 1 stolen base. All right, so this is in a matter of 7 days, the last 7 days. All right, so that equals a 333. This is how crazy baseball is, guys. 24 at bats, 8 hits, and you're batting 333 in the last 7 days. You know what I'm saying? He's the only guy that's doing that right now with those type of at bats, with the 24. You know what I'm saying? The next guy that has 24 at bats is batting 167, and that's Bo Bichette. This is in the last 7 days, all right? So in the last 7 days, you went up to the plate 24 times and got 4 hits, 1 double. You know what I'm saying? 5 total bases, and you struck out 3 times. All right, so they're not striking out. That's not what the problem is. All right? That's not what the problem is.
The problem is they can't get the ball in the damn air. Everything is to the ground or to a
Yeah.
player. Literally,
Yeah.
they don't. They there's no carte blanche. The ball's not
Yeah.
going in the air.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
In
crazy. All right.
baseball, then what's the name of the game? Once you get the ball in the air, anything can happen. A drop pass or a drop
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah.
Who knows? So many things that can happen. Once you put the ball in
Yeah.
play, anything can happen. But if you can't get the ball in play, you can't get carte blanche. There's nothing you can do.
That's crazy, right? So check this out, right? So between Robert Jr., right, and Simeon, 19 at bats for both of them in the last 7 days, right? 19 at bats. All right, so you know what they say, remember? When they were talking about how Lindor's been a leadoff hitter every
Hmm.
day except for the last couple of games, right? So look at the difference in at bats, right? Between, you know what I'm saying, a person that bats fourth, fifth, in the lineup, 19, 24. So when the Dodgers were like, yeah, the reason why we keep Otani up at the top of the order is because we're gonna get him the most at bats possible. And it actually works. It actually makes sense because I'm looking at it right now and it makes sense. Because Lindor was at the top of the order, and look, he has 24 at bats. But Shet was batting second, I believe, in the order. He has 24. So these guys are getting way more at bats, you know what I'm saying, than the rest of the team in a span of a week. So imagine at the end of the year, we're talking about a lot of at bats,
Mm.
you know? But between Junior and Simeon together combined 8 hits. In the last 7 days, 19 at bats each, combined 8 hits. Robert has three, Simeon has five.
But Roberts, yes,
Robert,
you want him to produce, but you got him for his defense. Let's be honest. Same thing
no,
with Mullins. You got him
no, no.
for his
I
defense.
think, no, no. I think that Robert Jr. Okay, you know what's crazy? Out of all the moves they made, Robert Jr. and Simeon are they're playing their true positions. You know what I'm saying? So the only problem we really have, we don't have a problem. I mean, listen, he's not a true third baseman. He's getting the job done. The problem is at first now. You know what I'm saying? Because you keep swapping guys out day in, day out. It's a new guy at first. You know, that's the problem. All right. Polanco's hurt. We don't know what's gonna happen with him. Young is hurt because he was playing over there as well. That doesn't mean he's not gonna try somebody else at first. He keeps trying everybody else at first.
Hey, you might see Melendez at first.
You might see
You know what? You know what I would do?
Tommy
Put
Pham at
Alvarez
first.
there. Why not have or Tyrone Taylor? He's
Of
less
course,
risk. Put him at first. And you got Alvarez catching. But lately they've been putting Tyrone Taylor as DH too. I noticed that too.
Tyrone Taylor. All right, you want to talk about Tyrone Taylor? Yeah, in the last 7 days, 9 at bats, 2 hits,
Yeah,
uh,
he's been
nothing,
non-productive.
nothing, nothing.
And yesterday there was there was this bottom of the ninth inning. He came up to bat, two on, and he just nothing. He just dud.
Nah, that's crazy, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. That's just insane to me. All right, so this is how insane it is. All right, so the team total for the whole week, 189 at bats. You know how many hits? 37. All right, that's insane to me. All right, so now, all right, this is what I'm saying. All right, so we're doing that, right? So
Wow.
let's look at the Braves. Let's look at the Braves in that same way. In the same way, let's look at the Braves because this is crazy to me. All right, so 189 at bats, 37 hits. Right. So now, in the last week, I'm gonna break this shit down because in the last week, the Braves have went at bat 216 times. All right,
Jeez.
and you know 70 hits. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's good offense, man. Production. You gain production from
Okay,
like
this
you
is the
said.
difference. This is the difference. This is the difference. This is what's happening right now. Like,
So, is it a fundamental issue with the Mets? What do you? Okay,
I,
in your honest opinion, what do you think? Because there's a bigger. Something bigger than just lack of offense. There's something deep that we don't know about.
I
Is
think
it
they need
is
to
it a
have a closed
chemistry
door.
issue?
I think so. I think. All right. First of all, there's a lot of things happening. People forget these things. All right. So, all right, a guy like Bichette, you see what's happening to Alonso? It's the same exact thing. It's like saying, all right, you're in a division, there's 5 teams. You play those divisional teams, you know what I'm saying, a whole lot more than you do the outside. You know what I'm saying? So you play
16
13,
times.
13 games, right?
13. Excuse
Amongst,
me.
no, it used to be more. You're right. It used to be more. Now, I believe it used to be 19. Now it's 13
Yeah,
because
19.
all right, it used to be 19, right? Now it's 13 because now we're playing every single team. So you have to break that up somehow. And the way to do it is by, minimizing the divisional games. So now 13 games, right? 5 teams. So that means that you get to see a lot of their pitching. You get used to what you're seeing. You have more of a percentage of hitting against those pitchers because you've seen them a lot more. Now, when you transition from that to a different division, it's different pitching. It's a different, different dimensions. The whole 9 yards. It's just different, So it's gonna take you a while to acclimate yourself to that situation, Because now you haven't really seen these pitches too much. You don't. The percentages are low because you've probably seen them a couple of times in your life, but not a lot, you know, over the years. Especially if you spent the time in the division for a long time, you know that these pitches don't really move around like that. So they stay within the same division unless they're like high caliber players, and those guys might move. But for the most part, you see the same guys a lot. Now, the shit has to, figure that out. All right. So all the new guys that we have that came from a different division have to have that problem. Everybody else, you know what I'm saying? It's a little different for them. Lindor doesn't really have an excuse for not hitting unless he's hurt and he doesn't want to say anything. You know what I'm saying? He just got the surgery. We don't know. We don't know what's going on with him. But apparently he's a 333 hit in the last 7 days now with those bullshit 8 hits. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think if it was an injury, I think he would have said something because think about it. Why would you want to keep playing if your hand is hurting in that area where you had to, what I mean? That's just you're just hurting your team.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I don't know what they're thinking, but we don't know what they're thinking over there
That's the
because
problem. They
that's the
don't tell us.
problem.
We're not
Exactly.
in the room, so we just guess.
Yeah.
That's the frustrating thing as a fan is that we know our team is struggling. We're trying to figure out. We want to know, but they're not going to tell us. They're going to keep it door shut, closed, so we don't know. So then, what do we do as fans? We speculate until we know the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we always will assume the worst because we don't know. But once we find out what it is, like that's it. That's the only reason why. Oh well, why did they fix it? You know what I mean? But
Okay.
until
No.
then,
It's a,
you
it's
know,
a, yeah.
we're gonna speculate.
It's the Mendoza, Stearns, and the analytical department, the guys that put the lineup together. I believe that that's a lot. It has a lot to do with it. All right, the way they're training these guys. Remember, we have a whole bunch of new coaches. You know what I'm saying? So like, who knows? I mean, but seriously, the hitting coach is, has a serious problem on his hands. I would like to see him get fired. Obviously, listen, tomorrow Craig is gonna, put up the back
The
page of
lineup,
the post, the back page of the post. You know what I'm saying? With the line, the headline
the
is gonna read.
catchphrase.
No, the headline is gonna read Mendoza, manager for the New York Mets, has been fired. You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna go from there. And they might even fire the hitting coach. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, they have to make something happen for the fans. You know what I'm saying?
They gotta give Trump change. You know that
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta give
yeah,
Trump
yeah. But this
just
isn't
to
gonna
keep
spark
you
them.
happy.
Yeah, but a new
But
set
you
of
know it's not gonna solve
eyes.
the problem.
No, it might. Listen, it might. A new set of
Maybe
eyes, a new set of eyes, and a different way of managing, and a different, perspective.
perspective.
Of
Yeah,
course, can change everything. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the guy that is in line for the job is looking at the situation right now and saying to himself, "All right, this is what I would do here. This is what I would do there. This is why I think this isn't working." And if it's a chemistry problem, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we have to fix that. We have to remember that at the end of the day, we're here to win a championship. Who gives a fuck, bro? Nobody's telling you to go to dinner with anybody. Nobody's telling you to talk to them, but you have to talk to them with your eyes and your hands and your body language when you're out there on the field. You know what I'm saying? You have to connect somehow. You know what I'm saying? You're here to pull off a job, and the job is you can't pull it off by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Everything. Who cares what the next man next to you is making? Let's play baseball. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's what you play for, a championship. I think that the team is there. I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm saying that we need to figure out how to put the team together. I think that that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? And plus, all that shit I was telling you about the transitional period where, you have to figure out the pitching and all that shit because you really haven't seen this pitching. So it's like being brand new. It's like coming up from the minors and saying, oh, I've never seen these guys before. I don't know what their shit looks like or moves like, you know? So those little things that people don't realize. But still, though, no excuse for this shit. They're professional hitters, you know what I'm saying? And they're looking like garbage right now.
yeah. They're gonna have to do something. Like I said, Do you think no owner wants to fire a manager a month into a season?
Oh, I
That
would
just
love that. I
makes you
would
look
love that.
really bad. The Orioles did it, and yeah,
No,
remember Mendoza's been there for 3 years. Remember, he's not. He just didn't get here. He's been here for 3.5 years. One of those 3 years he made the playoffs. Um, so it's if it's you have to do something, and you do anything and everything to rile the team up because remember you can't fire players. You know what I mean? And you're not gonna fire the I was joking in our group chat earlier. It's like if he can fire a manager, why can't he fire the GM? Who cares? What major things is the GM gonna be doing? But then I realized, you know what? He's gonna be a part of doing the trade deadline pieces. He needs someone to do that job. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Can you just get
exactly.
some yo-yo filling guy? Can you
No,
get
that will
Craig?
hurt
You
you
know what
even
I
more.
mean?
That will hurt you even
No.
more. But
So
you
he
have,
knows the team, but
yeah, he knows the
from
team. And remember, this is his team. Remember, this has
yeah,
happened before when we were complaining about Stearns and saying, oh my God, what happened? The Oh My God team. The Oh My God team was a team that Stearns put together, and he felt good about it. He felt good about the team, and he couldn't understand why we had such a slow start. And then all of a sudden, the team clicked, and he was like, "This is the team that I envisioned when I put it together," and the team went pretty far and did amazing things, and it took them a while to figure it out. But these drastic changes are a little different. They're not moving fast enough. The bowl is being filled with water. They're not plugging the hose. They're not trying to figure it out. It's the consistency of not doing anything on a daily basis is what's killing me. That's the only thing that we have that's consistent. You know what I'm saying? The lack of everything. The
The
pitching is
lack of
great.
consistency.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
overall.
overall, it's kind of crazy, right? So Alonso, 24 at bats, 7 hits, 7 hits.
1,000 strikeouts,
No, okay, you want to talk about
one home
strikeouts?
run.
7 strikeouts in the last 7 days. So if you break that down as one strikeout a day, right? And you know what?
Hmm.
In the last week, he's your second best player. All right. Oh no, that's not true. That's not true. If we're going
No,
into
Henderson
no.
is your best
Jackson,
player.
Jackson's
Oh,
three
oh
thirty
yeah.
three, 333, right? Nine
I
hits in the last 7 days.
Jermaine,
11
I forgot his name.
RBIs.
He's been great, man.
Yeah,
Jermaine, I forgot his first name, but
Jeremiah Jackson.
Jeremiah, and he's a replacement for Jackson Holiday, who's still in the minors, and he has a hamate issue.
Wow.
So they're gonna just tell you know what, stay down there
They're
and take
there.
your sweet time. Don't rush him.
Yeah.
See, they can't see that's the thing. You can't do that with Lindor because you don't have anyone to play shortstop.
Yes, we
If you
do.
had that problem,
Oh,
because
his name is Boba Shet. What are you talking about?
yeah, you could, but you're not gonna send Lindor to the minors and let him get it right. That's what they're doing with That's what the Orioles doing. Holiday, let him take his time getting it back together.
Yeah,
You
but if you
can't do
still
that.
indoor down for 2 days and you let him have a rehab start, I don't know. I don't know how. Listen, I don't know.
You know how bad that would look. You send a $300 million guy to freaking back to AAA. That'd be
No, that's a
crazy.
triple A. This first a start to.
AAA, yeah.
Yeah, fuck it, man. But listen, and give
They
him
did
two
it with
days.
Alvarez. It worked.
I know, but
Maybe you
Alvarez
should
is a
do that.
puppy. Alvarez is a puppy. He's on like a zillion, dollar contract. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
He's the puppy. He did. So it works for him. That works. You can do that with them. You can't do that with a player like Lindor. You're not gonna say he's hurt, but you're gonna sit him down for 2 days and you're gonna say, you know what? Let's try to work on your mechanics, try to figure this out. Let's focus on what's wrong, and then we'll give you a spot start. You know what I'm saying, in the minors. You go to Brooklyn and you clock a 5 hit day, and then
Come back up.
come back up, and then that's it. You play the last game of the series. You down for 2 games of the series, you come back for the third. But we work on your mechanics for 2 whole days, and we try to change your mechanics, and we focus on it all day. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna, it's not gonna change. We're not gonna go anywhere. We're done with that. You know.
I don't know, man, because it's just cool. It's amazing how every season is different. And 2 years ago, we were singing the praise of Stern and all the good things he did do, when all the guys that he brought in and he was able to,
No, no, no. Listen, I'm not blaming Stearns. This is the thing. All right, okay. Listen, I'm blaming Stearns if he's part of
rebuild.
the round table that sets up the lineup on a daily
Oh,
basis.
I don't think
All
he is.
right.
You think he
Uh,
is?
no, listen to me. Okay, let me explain something to you. Okay, so if me, you, and Craig, right, we sit down at a round table and we're like, all right, we're gonna discuss what the lineup is gonna be today. And you've played how many games already? You played multiple series,
18. Yeah.
18 games, right? So now you have 18 games under your belt, and the lineup has been different 18 times. You think that 2 out of the 3 people in the room would say, "All right, we can't do this. We can't constantly change the lineup because it's gonna cause problems, and there's gonna be multiple problems." And if anyone in the room says, "What kind of problems?" You know what I'm saying? You don't think those people are smart enough to like break it down and say, "These are the problems that you're gonna cause your team if you consistently change the lineup up."
Yeah.
You
You know
don't
what
think
I
that
would do if I was
that
him? I'd just leave the lineup for the week. See how I'm gonna ride this lineup for the week. If it doesn't work, then you make the change. But every day,
You know what I'm saying?
come on,
Of
it's like
course, obviously you have to, you have to switch up the DH if you have the
if a guy
lefty
needs rest.
matches, the lefty or
Oh,
righty
okay, yeah, yeah,
matchups,
yeah.
the lefty and righty matchups for the DH. Okay, you do that obviously
That's
with
one
what you have on
player.
your. I know, but that's what you do on with the people you have on your bench. You don't fuck up the whole lineup for that. You keep everybody at the position, especially when they're trying to build chemistry. They're new to the team. keep them at the position so they can build chemistry, so defense can be better. Because when you build chemistry, everything flows. You know where your man's gonna be. You know how far he can reach with that arm. You know exactly where he likes it. Everything, all that shit counts. But what do I know? But you think that round table isn't, those questions aren't coming up. It's like, all right, we're doing something wrong here. Obviously, it's not working. What is it that we could change? Like I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he is there. Maybe
Whoever's in
I
charge of
just
that.
think I don't know if so. I don't think Stearns is. Maybe he's involved because he's the one that got these guys. So I
I
got
mean,
these guys because I
that's
need
a
him to play
daily.
every
I
day.
know. All right,
I
but yeah,
guess. But what order the guy goes in the line? He might have to say who should play for the day. But in what order the lineup goes? No, or who he should rotate into defense on for your defensive layout. I don't know maybe. But either way, there's no. Here's the other thing I wonder too. I wonder because Mendoza knows that he's a puppy. He doesn't have cachet, so he doesn't have the courage to be like, "Hey, man, I don't agree with this. Why are we doing this? Why are we putting Vientos on first tomorrow and then another guy? If you know what I mean?
this is why I don't think Stearns is involved in that. All right, Stearns is involved. All right, you have to understand that. All right, so explain this to me. So if Stearns is involved, right, it makes no sense to me because if
Yeah, he's not involved in the everyday lineups. I don't think he's in. I
all
don't
right,
think so.
who do you
In
think?
my
Oops, all right, so who do you think said, all right, you won the job for the people that didn't have a position? Because obviously in spring training, everybody's playing for a position. Everybody's trying to win a position, except for the high caliber players. Obviously, you know that Soto's not playing for a position, fighting for a position. He's obviously going to be the right
Lindor is
fielder.
not fighting for a position.
Position, exactly. Vientos, Beatty, those guys are fighting for
Bichette's not fighting for
bench.
a position.
Bishop wasn't fighting for a position.
Anyone that they give a lot of money to, you're staying at the position even if you
Exactly.
suck.
Even if we suck, right? So now, if you know that, right, and everybody won a position, whoever was in charge of that, why is it that when they came over and they were actually playing games, they were swapping them out, doing this, that, and the third, and swapping positions out? If they won a specific position, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
My lips got dry. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I hear you. What you mean? I, I I think the other thing I think you need to do is that you can't be afraid to send your star players or let them tell them that hey they got to sit on the bench. I think he's afraid to do that because there's gonna be backlash. How are you sitting a $400 million guy
Of
on the bench? Blah,
course.
blah, blah, blah,
This
blah.
is why I make do that
Because
so much
I
time.
have to wake him up. And if he's not gonna wake up, because it's kind of like it's like a kid that's misbehaving all the time. If you don't punish him or you don't teach him that there's consequences for his actions, he's not gonna know. So that one time you do try to punch him, he's gonna look at you sideways because you let him do all the time until that one time, and then you benched him.
Yeah.
And it's like wait, you didn't bench
Yeah.
me before. Why are you benching me now?
Yeah,
And
but
then, and
that
then now you lose the
scrutiny.
room.
Yeah, but you know what happens when you reprimand a player like that? His energy changes. There's a lot
He's
going on.
gonna he's gonna quit. Lindor's gonna be like,
Yeah,
fuck this place. I ain't
yeah,
gonna try now.
you know what I'm
I'll
saying? So
keep
that's
making
the
these errors. I don't
so
care.
there's a fine line. That's why there's a fine line, because they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we have to treat this guy a certain way because he's not producing right now. Imagine if we scold him, you know what I'm saying? Then he's gonna really pissed off. I mean, but look how they did it, you know what I'm saying? Now he's in the third slot, you know what I'm saying? So this is a way of punishing him because they did it because he's not producing it. They know that, and they have to juggle the lineup because you have to understand this is the one thing that's crazy to me, right? Remember, we're talking about all these changes in the lineup, right?
Hmm.
But guess who was the one person whose
That was
lineup
consistent.
slot never changed? Tell me right now.
Soto.
No, Lindor. In the one slot
Oh, he was
every
always
single day.
lead off. Yeah, and he's the
Out of all the lineup changes, the whole eight, Lindor was the number one guy every single lineup. That was the
I would
only
have Bichette
consistent
as
thing.
my lead off.
Not,
I know he's not producing at the moment, but just to see, I don't know, just play it around,
nah, see,
play it around,
you sound like
or
that's like Mendoza right now. That's
or
exactly what
or
I'm doing.
or, or just here's how I would do leadoffs. Whoever the hottest guy is, you're gonna start. That's what I would do. And then you set a precedent. Okay, this guy's the best player right now. He's been producing the most. He's gonna lead off the game, and then you go from there. And then I'll go with like which because remember the lineup. It's top four that you want to start off. So you got your 1, 2, 3, and then the cleanup guy.
Yeah.
Which top four guys currently are the most productive for me right now? And then that hopefully sets a precedent for the lineup. And then also motivates the guys. Okay, if I'm Lindor, right, and I want to get back to the top, I gotta stay where I'm at 4. Let's just say 3, whatever. He's at 3. Stay at 3. Start raking. Prove to Mendoza, okay, I just need to get my life together, and once I do, I can produce. You know what I mean? So, like you said, it's this is their way of benching the guy without benching the guy.
Yeah.
Without benching, and also it's a quiet way of saying we have a problem without saying, Mayday, Mayday, I have a problem, I need help.
Oh no, but come on now, think about it. After 11 losses in a row, they didn't have a closed door. You know what I'm saying? They need a closed door. They need to
Fedor, they
address
did.
that shit. They need to address this shit. All right. They need to figure out exactly what's bothering them and figure it out. All right. Because
They didn't have one. I thought they did.
if they did, all right.
I don't know,
worked.
but you would know.
Did,
but either way, it's not working.
it's not working. Okay. Like, listen, every morning, listen, tomorrow I'm praying for the Mendoza has just been fired, back page, New York Post from Craig text, you know what I'm saying? Because he always sends us the back page,
Yep.
the sports side of the paper, you know what I'm saying? He'll send us the little text of the picture. And it's funny, especially when it involves the Mets, you know what I'm saying? But now, it's 11 in a row, bro, all right? We're in the review of the division. We look bad, and I don't know anymore, you know? Everybody else is playing baseball. Everything is starting to everybody's starting to settle in. The divisions are starting to take place, and the numbers are starting to show. And the division is showing that the Mets ain't gonna make it, and and that's that.
They're gonna be the kid that gets left behind on the school trip because
That's
they're
it,
not paying
bro.
attention, and then
That's it. Nah,
realize, oh crap, this bus is about to leave. Oh,
they got
goodbye.
ejected from the saying from the airplane, bro.
Yeah, I don't know because in the off season when we looked at paper, I said on paper this lineup looked way better than last year's. But now you look at it, it's like, wait, minus Alonso, how is the two of the three main guys that we had last year are thriving in their new places? So maybe it wasn't them that was the issue. Maybe we got rid of the wrong guys. You know what I mean? Now, am I saying Lindor's the wrong guy or the right guy to get rid of? No, but is he the analogy is is he the black cloud in the room? Is he the cancer in the room? Is it one player? Is it two players? How many?
Yeah.
That's the who is it?
This is how I see it, bro. All right, if there's a problem in the clubhouse and there's two players that are having a beef, I think.
Lindor and Soto, they're supposed to
listen.
beef like crazy,
Uh,
which is
uh,
crazy. How?
but listen to me. You know what's crazy about that to me? I play shortstop. You play second. There's
Yeah,
not much interaction, and the distance between them is very far. All right. So now, who cares? They walk into the clubhouse to get dressed. They don't have to say what's up to each other. All they have to do is
yeah.
perform and play.
It's
All
like
right.
at
But
work, I can get on
yeah,
the
man,
ambulance with someone I hate his guts, but guess what? I'm gonna do my job, keep my mouth shut,
that's
put
it.
my iPods on, and keep it moving. I've done that before,
All right. So
or even with someone you don't know, we would do that,
yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. So I want to talk about the ABS, right? And who's been, abusing it, and
Who's
who's
been
been
good?
who's been good at it. You know what I'm saying? So I have the numbers here. All right. So all right, we got players like let's go for example, Gary Sanchez, right? So he
On the Brewers.
10 challenges, right? And only 5 of them were right. So he's at 50%. You know what I'm saying? All right. So a guy like that, you know what I'm saying? Like you're doing it too much. That's too much for me. All right. Now we got other guys here too. All right, let's give you another example. So that's those are the hitters, right? That when the batter is actually asking for it.
When the
All right.
batter's
So
asking for a
all right,
challenge,
so
yeah.
like Peter Alonso, for example, he challenged 4 times and he was right 4 times. So he's at 100%. Teoscar Hernandez, same thing. All right. So now, the guys that the funny guys and shit like Manny Machado, right? He tried 4 times. He was right 2 times. But the Gary Sanchez is, I think, it's pretty ridiculous, right?
Hey,
All
he's
right,
not every player. He's not every
yeah.
day catcher. He's a backup to Contreras in Milwaukee.
And this is no, this is when they were batting though. All right, so now this is
Oh yeah,
when the pitcher called for one. All right, so when the
Chris
pitcher called,
Sale. He's been the most accurate.
let me see. So everybody, one here, one day, they're 100%. They didn't ask for too much. They don't do it too much. They don't do it too much. All right. Now when the catcher does it, all right, the catcher does it. So now this is the high numbers right here. These are the highest numbers you're gonna see. So the catcher knows. So now we're knowing that the ABS, system is being used more by catchers than anyone else. All right. So now Salvador Perez, he challenged 21 times and he was successful 16 times. So that equals a 76%. So that's not bad. And let me see who else we have here with high numbers. All right. So we have for the Miami Marlins, we have Ramirez, catcher, 18 times, and he was successful 12 times. That's a 66%, but that's not bad. You know what I'm saying? That was high numbers, but for a catcher, they see the game from a different perspective.
Yeah, they're
You
right
know,
there in that box.
exactly. So they're like, "Now this is a fucking strike. What are you talking about?" You know what I'm saying? So now we notice that the catchers are the ones that are doing it the most. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like it's working for them. Even the lowest is at a 66. Alejandro Kirk for the Blue Jays. You know what I'm saying? He attempted 3 of them and he was right twice. Okay, so and that equals to 67%. But still, though, that's not that bad. Now, when Salvador Perez, he was wrong 5 times, but still, out of 21 times, he was right 16 times. All right, so that's not bad. That's not bad. That's 76%. That's what I have. All right. And for teams, we're not even gonna go into that. You know what I'm saying? We have enough problems. But that's what's happening.
No, the ABS system it's going the way they intended it to go. It's and it's everyone thinks like, oh, we're gonna it's just really gonna show how bad these umpires are. Actually, not really. They're actually pretty accurate for the most part. Yeah, there's some that are just like crazy or egregious, but for the
Nah,
most part,
think
they've been
about it. It's
pretty
working.
accurate this year.
Yeah, just having the option is great. You know what I'm saying? They can perfect it. They can make it a little easier, make it better, but they will, with time. I think that all the new rules and everything they've implemented into the game to make it faster, make it more exciting is cool. I think the only thing that I don't really like is the playoff brackets. You know what I'm saying? I feel like too many teams are getting in now. You know what I'm saying? But I understand, they
That's
want
like
to make
that in
them.
every sport, man. Look at
Yeah,
basketball. 17, you could be under 500. 16 teams make the playoffs.
yeah,
What
it's
is it?
too
Football,
much.
it's 14. Baseball, it's what? 12 teams that make it? I forgot how many teams make it in baseball, but
They keep changing it, bro. I keep losing track,
they
bro.
just keep adding. Here's the thing I don't like about any. They're like, oh, the more teams we had, the more the fans are gonna come back. And no, they're not. No one cares about how many teams you add on. It's better to have less teams because that means your team has to work harder to get
No,
there.
but you know what they do? You know how much money they generate from having those couple
Oh,
of
of
extra teams?
course.
Because they fill up
Yes.
stadiums with that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now your team
Yeah.
has a shot. But think about it. It's crazy because a team that wouldn't have made it has a legit shot if they go on a nice little streak to make it there. It's crazy
Yeah,
because
that's true.
you never know. And this is what makes it okay for your team if your team isn't all that great, but if you can sneak into a playoff and you can like
That's what the
configure
Mets
it.
did 2 years ago. They were a wild card team and they made a run,
Yeah,
right?
wait, yeah, it's crazy like that. You can pull that off, and then magical things can happen. But
Look at the
that's
Diamondbacks a couple years ago, or the Texas Rangers. No one had those two. I think were walk, or maybe not wild card, but one of them two were at least wild card teams. You
no.
know,
Remember both of them. Remember, when it was Texas and
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
two
was the
years
both.
ago.
They were both the wild cards, bro.
Yeah, look at that. You
Yeah,
know,
so it happens.
so maybe it's better off to be a wild card team than to get that first round bye.
I mean, because you carry momentum, from that first series when the other team is waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? That first seed is waiting, but that's the crazy shit about baseball and all those other sports that have a first seed and they just wait on the wild card. But it's time for the pitcher and the slugger of the week from
So,
Lasha.
yes, the gunslinger of the week is going to be Mackenzie Gore of the
Oh yeah,
Texas Rangers. He
oh
was
yeah,
traded last year, either
yeah.
this past
Bad
winter,
move,
I think it was
bad move
from Washington,
from Washington. Yes,
on
bad move.
April 8th versus Seattle in a 3-0 win for Texas. He went 5 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, and 9 strikeouts. And the hitter of the week is Brent Rooker. The A's are a sneaky, tough team, man. I don't think they're just gonna be doormats anymore. They're gonna put
Nah,
up a fight. Yeah,
they
they're
have
not. They're not gonna win the division, but they're gonna put up a fight, man. They're gonna, I could see them being a wild card team next
a
year,
walk
man.
on
If they
team.
get
There you
the
go.
right, if they get that rotation good, better, But anyway, the hitter of the week is Brent Rooker. On April 5th versus the Astros in a 12-10 win, he went 2 for 4, 2 home runs, a walk, 6 RBIs, and 2 runs. So uh, that's great numbers to hit 2 home runs in a game. So
Yeah,
and the Astros, man, they're not the same anymore. You can tell they haven't accepted the fact that they need to go on a rebuild. They're
I
holding
mean,
on to Altuve as long as they
it's like
can. They're
Philly. It's
holding
like
on to
Philly.
Correa. Well, Philly, they don't have a choice, man. You give a lot of money to Schwarber and
Harper.
Harper and Realmuto. What else are you gonna do? You gonna just
Yeah.
same thing as the Mets. You're not gonna just quit. You
Yeah,
know.
but at least those teams actually, they went on those runs. They were exciting to watch. You know what I'm saying? When they put those three together, you know what I'm saying? They went on
Yeah, they
serious
were.
runs. They were exciting to watch. You know what I'm saying? So now,
Yeah, that's true.
so they put their money there and they got what they
They
got.
got their money's worth.
They
Yeah.
sure did. They sure did because those contracts are long, but you're not paying for the longevity of the contract. You're paying for like those chips early on. You know what I'm saying? When you put the team together, you say, all right, this team can actually put it together and win. You pay for that extra, that fluff is to get the player to join your team. But whatever.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna talk about the trivia for you. It's gonna be a weird question, all right? And it's crazy because these answers. They're in the top of your head because you've been watching baseball for a while now, and you've noticed the patterns, and you know, all right. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. All right. Okay.
Sure.
So all right. Historically, worst April records. All right. So there's four teams here who've had the worst historical records in April. All right. And this is what I want you to do. If you give me two out of the four, you got this right. And if you can give me the year, then we're really good. And you should definitely be able to answer this because we've talked about a lot of these teams. All right. And
I'm gonna go with Baltimore. They've notoriously
okay.
in their
Baltimore.
past. I'd say in the '90s or early '90s. Before I would say they had or actually no. I'd say early. What was it? Early 2000s. I would say they had a lot of bats because they started turning around when Buck Showalter got there in whatever. I think it was 2008 he got there. Whenever it was. But before then, they were pretty bad. So I'd say Baltimore Orioles is one of the
Okay,
teams.
so let me tell you, Baltimore Orioles is one of the teams, right? And you were right the
See,
first time when you said 1990. It was actually 1988, right? They set the
wow,
record for the worst 25 game start, right? Ever. It was two. They were 2-23 at the end of April.
2-23.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that's 20
Okay.
games under 500.
Okay, that's crazy, right? Now, give me another team. So you were good. That was good, yo. So you said Baltimore. You were 2 years away from the actual year, which is amazing. All right, so you get a bonus point for that, which is crazy. Now, give me another team. Give me another team.
Okay, all right, it's got to be an NL team. So, not the Expos, not the Rockies. They were pretty good. Not the Cardinals. I'll go with the Marlins.
No, strike one.
No.
Strike one.
Oh,
And you
geez.
actually mentioned one of the teams in that
Okay,
little mumbling you did there.
Rockies.
There you go.
Rockies.
Okay, what year? You know this.
It had to be recent because they've been bad, 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 bad. I say 2004.
No, it was
Oh.
actually 2025. It was actually last year. They were
Oh
horrible.
my gosh.
They lost
I should have
25
known that.
times
They're
in
so
April. They
bad.
lost 25 times.
25 times?
Yeah, they lost 25
So
times in
what?
April.
2 and what? 3 and 25?
I don't know. I don't have the record there. Well, we can look that up.
That's
But yeah, they
crazy.
lost 25 times in the month of April, which is crazy. You know how crazy that is? I mean, but this is what shows you. All right, now give me
They had
you.
that means they have at least more than one 10-game losing streaks at a time
Can you imagine that
in
shit?
1 month.
They got swept multiple times. Think about it. All
Yeah,
right,
well,
so
losing series, yeah,
yeah,
that's
you know what
true.
I'm saying? They got swept. Imagine. All right, give me another team. All right. You got. I'll give you a hint. You have one left in
Colorado,
that and both.
Baltimore.
You have one left in the National, and you have one left in the American.
Okay, National League. Let's see.
One was more recent than the other, and I'll give you a couple of hints.
Oh, Pirates. I'm gonna go with the Pirates. My
No, it
next
wasn't.
guess.
No, it wasn't the Pirates. That's strike two.
No Pirates. National League team. No Marlins. The Nationals. I'm gonna guess the
Nah,
Nationals.
strike three. But so the other two teams was
Damn.
the Reds in 2022, right?
Oh, the Reds.
They ended up with a 3-22 record at the end of April, and Detroit was the other team in 2003, right? They were 3-22 to begin the season, right? And they finished the season with a 43 and 119 record, which is crazy. All right, that's really bad baseball. But yeah, that was the trivia. That was good, man. You did
That was a
good,
good
man.
question. I
Yeah.
like that question.
All right. Yeah, no, you did good. You were really breaking it down in your head, and you were like, "It's gonna be this." And you have the ideas. It's
Well, I
funny to
just
listen to you.
reason so the way I break it down is because who has been the most consistently bad teams in the last decade. That's how I break it down. The last coup. You know what I mean? For the most part, Colorado has been bad for a while.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh,
Detroit, Pitts,
Baltimore.
yeah,
Detroit. They've been good for the last 10 years.
recent,
You know what I mean.
recently.
So that's why I didn't pick them. Colorado's been bad. Baltimore,
Chicago White Sox,
the White
horrible.
Sox. Baltimore, they
Oakland,
just
Sacramento,
Oakland.
Las Vegas,
Yeah, Oakland. The Marlins.
the Marlins.
As
Yeah,
far as bad wise.
yeah,
So that's why I kind of came up and said those names.
yeah. That's how the
But
shit works. Yeah, that was it,
yeah,
man.
man.
Yeah, that was a good up. We talked about some real shit, and it's sad, and it's funny because it's funny because today I was listening to one of those podcasts that I'm interested in, and they were talking about the Mets, and they were like, "Wow, this is getting really bad. It's gonna be hard to fill content, saying, or even do it, or have the energy to
It
do it."
gets boring after a while talking about the
Yeah,
Mets losing all the time.
saying so, like, they have a real concern over there, especially those daily guys that have to do it on a couple of hours. Every couple of hours, they're fucking doing it. They're on it. You know.
Imagine being like the reporters, the Steve Gelbs of the world. You know
Oh
how
my
tired he
God.
must get,
Yeah, it's
constantly
crazy.
asking, "What do you
You
think is
know.
wrong with the team?"
Yeah.
Because he's an insider. He knows what's going on. He
Yeah.
probably if he could spill the beans, he probably would, but he can't.
Exactly. But this is the thing
Because they
too.
get fired.
Yeah, think about it. Exactly. All right. If you're an SNY analyst, right, and you're getting paid to talk
Or
about
the announcers.
announcers, you can't really say what you want to say. This is why you have to go to the outside source, because if you even dare say something negative about these players are gonna hate you. All right. This is the same thing
They're
that
not gonna.
happened with
Yep. They're not
Stephen A.
gonna. Yep.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened with Stephen A. and LeBron. You know what I'm saying? That's why they hate
Oh
each other now,
yeah. You
because
remember they had that beef?
Stephen
Yeah.
was talking about Bronny James. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, he's an analyst. He has to talk about everybody on the team. He talks
Yeah.
about
He don't care. He's not
everybody.
associated with anybody. Yeah.
Exactly. That's his job. LeBron wasn't supposed to get mad and upset. Stop talking about my son. I mean, what do you want me to do? That's my
See,
job.
the one guy on the from the media side that could do it because he's his last year and he don't give a damn. I'd be Howie Rose. Why not? What do I got to lose? Everyone loves me. Who cares? I'm going out. Might as well
No, but
go out
it's
with the
no, no, no.
flashbang.
But it's not about that. It's about
Fuck
those
it.
guys are classy for a reason. You want to listen to them because they give you hope. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right,
But you want honesty. You don't need hope in this
I know,
moment. You want honesty.
obviously, no, but if you want that, you have to step outside the box. You can't. You have to go to another source. You can't do it that way. And this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Money talks,
Hope
right?
comes from the honesty. You need
This is
honesty first before you
listen.
get the hope.
Listen, bro, we're a low platform type situation, right? So this is a perfect example. No, it's not. I'm not. It's funny, but I'm serious now. Think
I
about
see what you
this.
mean. Yeah.
So we talk shit about these players, right? All right, now if we were to ever make it or try to get any one of these players, and they're gonna say, "Oh well, you know what? These guys were talking shit about you." You know what I'm saying? These guys were saying
You
that
would never say it to their face. Yeah.
exactly. You know what I'm saying to their face, but
You be
they
respectful.
and you gotta be respectful. You have to be respectful from day one. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's one of those things that, Frank the Tank is never gonna if Frank the Tank decides to,
Oh,
put
he's
up a show,
crazy. He literally hates like
you know what
I.
I'm saying?
It's different to criticize them for the. I always say if you're gonna criticize, same thing with me at work, right? I always say this to people: if you want to criticize me about my job. Don't criticize me by attacking me personally. There's a difference. Same thing with these players. He criticizes guys for the way they're playing on the field. Don't attack Lindor for his family or his wife.
Exactly.
That's
Just
what they're
for
going on to. That's not cool, man. That now you crossed the line. Same thing, and that's all. That's all they're asking for.
yeah,
And Derek Jeter said it best, or John Carlos Stanton. Those fans deserve to. I deserve to get booed by those guys. They're paying me money, and they're paying a lot of money to come see me, and I'm not producing. Damn right, I'd be booing them too first. But those guys, today's players, don't have that mindset. Everybody wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be the favorite. No one wants to be hated. And it's like that at work too. When you go to work, you want to go in there unscathed. You don't want to ruffle
ruffle
any
fans.
feathers.
Oh, of
You
course
don't
not.
want to piss off your partner. All right, your partner wants to drive, even though your partner wants to tech, even though you don't want to, drive. Well, okay, well, fine, whatever. I don't care because I'm not gonna sit 20 minutes to a shift arguing. It's like we had, for example, in school, right? This girl in the class, she's arguing about sitting in the front seat. Like it's stupid. It's a grown adult. No one's got time for that. Who cares where you sit? But it just. But what I mean is, that they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So hopefully, here's listen. I got hope because look at the Mets homestand. They got Minnesota. You could definitely take 2 out of 3, and you got Colorado. You have to sweep Colorado.
It's
Colorado's
not gonna happen.
bad.
It's not gonna
Colorado
happen.
is bad. They're playing for a draft pick, dude. They have nobody.
Listen, Minnesota lost the last four. Okay, they're five and
Exactly.
five in the last 10.
And
Listen, they're gonna come
Chicago
to
is
City
like that
Field.
too.
I know, but
Isn't that
Cincinnati,
crazy?
I know, and they swept the Mets. Okay,
Yeah.
so believe me, it's gonna happen. But anyway, this is the end of the show. We'll talk soon. It was a great one, great trivia, man. But we'll talk.
Yeah. Good question. Good polls.
Good way
See
of
ya.
answering.
You
Peace, brother.
keep on running around.